Hi, everybody. Welcome back to This and That. Today we have with us Anthony from RamFam Collectibles. And of course, the first thing I always ask is Anthony, first, hi, how are you? And tell us, please, what makes you a geek? Although it looks pretty obvious, but go ahead.
What makes me a geek? I think that's a great question. I think it's my entire personality. I've always been into everything geek and nerd related, from Power Rangers to Ninja Turtles. As far as like Jackie Chan too, I know he's a very niche thing. To Marvel, that's really big in the last like 10, 15 years. If you look at my body, if you've seen any one of my arms or my legs, there's an anime person on there, a Ninja Turtle, a Marvel hero. I got Rick and Morty. I love, I digest it, I eat it. I think the biggest thing for me is I love the stories behind them. It kind of gives me like this fictitious life that I can't live, but I get to live it vicariously through them, and it's pretty interesting. So I think if you talk to me for more than 10 minutes, you'll see I'm a pretty big nerd.
Well, we're meant to do that. So,
Yeah.
so here we go. So tell us about RamFam Collectibles. Tell us what it is and just in summary of what is it that you guys do.
Yeah, so RamFam Collectibles, it's 2 years old. It's everything action figures, toys, and collectibles. We mostly deal with brand new releases. One of the things that I ran into as a consumer was it was really difficult for me to find the figures, to find the toys. I know that it seems like there's a lot of options, but Target's really big, right? Walmart's really big, Big Bad Toy Store's really big, and it's tough to be able to get your hands on some of the merchandise. And then your fallback is let's go to like these third-party websites, and everybody's jacked up the price. So I wanted to like kind of insert myself as like the solution as somebody that's not necessarily here for a buck, but somebody that gives a fuck. Excuse me if I can't curse, but that's really what the reality is behind it. I think too many people are too invested in this for financial reasons and not really about growing the community or doing something for the community. So that's where we've been at for the last 2 years. We are working towards our third year. It's pretty cool. We have two full-time employees that work with us. At one point, it was just me doing everything 100%. And probably over like the last 9 months, we've gotten really heavy into doing custom artwork on Funko Pops. We've like just started to break into doing some of that stuff onto actual toys themselves. So more of like a display, kind of like what you see my personal background. That's all shoveled and disorganized. So it's something cool and different that like not a lot of people can do. And I like to think that our price points are pretty fair for the average consumer. So that's really where we are. That's where we're at right now. And we're just now going into year three or just starting to get our stride. It seems like it feels like all the mistakes and all the growing pains we've kind of gone through. And now it's like, how do I do something different than just about everybody else?
But I think that your story is so encouraging to me because you started as a collector. You were a consumer that were looking for stuff and you saw the need. But a lot of us do, but we don't take the next steps. What
Yeah.
made you take that next step? Did you know people in the community? Did you have contacts? How did you decide, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it well?
Yeah, that's a good question. I knew nobody in the community. I knew nobody. I had no inside information. Quite honestly, so Ram Fam Collectibles. Ram Ramirez is my last name.
Okay.
So I took Ram Fam Family, so Ram Fam, and then Collectibles. And the reason why I went with that name, not only does it sound amazing and it rolls off the tongue, but my father has a business and it's called Zerimar Corporation. Zerimar is Ramirez flipped backwards. And he's been doing it for 35 plus years now. And I liked it because he was his own boss. That's his own hours. He runs everything. He does it his way, and he doesn't care about anyone else. He does it the way that he thinks is best for his consumer. And I really like that. So I was like, why do I have to go fight with Target or fight with this distribution or fight with this big brand that doesn't care about the little guy or the little girl?
Mhm.
Why don't I just do it myself and just do it the way I would want to be treated? So if you look inside of like a lot of our messaging and little profiles, it says, buy collectors for collectors. Like I'm you. I buy this stuff. I literally buy it. I throw it up there. I'll get some from the distribution. Be like, I really like that. I'm going to keep one. I'll sell the other five. So yeah, that's kind of how we started. I started kind of like on eBay, like everyone else, Macari, these small places. I messed up a lot. I started with $0. I just took a couple of personal items. I'm very proud to say I've never taken $1 from RamFam Collectibles. Everything's always been directly into the business. My employees have made 10 times more money than I've ever made from the company. But I really enjoy it and I really like it. And yeah, that's kind of where we started and where we are now. And we eventually outgrew eBay as our only path. We got into Walmart. We continued with Macari. We jumped into Whatnot, a new app called Encore. We sell at events. We did a lot of single day, like 4, 5, 6 hour events. We did flea markets. Now we're usually doing these like 3, 4 day events so that, you know, we kind of set up everything, we leave it, set it and forget it, kind of like how you and I were introduced.
Right.
So it's just kind of going through that process of like, man, you got to grind. You're up late, you're up early. Like it's a process.
But you're a perfect example that it can be done even with no connections, just with that
Oh yeah,
drive and
cool.
yeah, it's kind of like with me, you know, like that's how I started. It's like, okay, I'll just take out a game and I'll play it, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
people are
Listen, as long as you're having fun,
yes,
that's all that matters. Like the moment it turns into like I have to sell this or else I work full time still. I work from the house. I have a 9 to 5 job. And I work this all around it and I manage people while I'm kind of in between meetings and things. But like at no point was I like stressed out to the point of like, I gotta pay my bill if I don't sell this figure. Like I'll sit on inventory all day if it means that, you know, I'm providing something that no one else is doing in the community.
But I see that you have a lot of stuff sold out. Because I looked through the website. By the way, what is the website so people can find you?
Yeah, so it's just our name, RAM, RAM, FAM, FAM Collectibles. You can do it with an A or an I, however you want to spell it. So ramfamcollectibles.com, and it'll bring you straight to us. You can just Google RamFam Collectibles. You'll find anything and everything from photos, people reselling some of our custom artwork, just about every channel that we're in. Yeah.
Yes, and I gotta say that the website looks amazing. Like I looked through it, and it's very organized, very easy to like navigate. Great pictures, great videos. I love that you show your items on all directions. Like there's no mistake of what you're getting. You're getting a picture. Tell me about the family part, because I know that I first met your wife at even another event, and then she introduced me to you. Do you guys have different things going on? Because I believe hers has a different name. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so she does everything still through us. It's still through RamFam Collectibles. I do everything through the family. So when we first started, it was 100% me. And then at a certain point, like today, we got an event tomorrow. I went to my wife and I was like, hey, guess what? You're R&D and you are now marketing. I need these things in a photo, make it look beautiful, print it out, give it to me so I can just put it up there. So like she's like, just write on a sheet of paper what you want. So she's very involved in it. All of the kids, when we first started, I remember like one Black Friday, it was like 2021. I got some toy. I got like 20 cases of some G.I. Joe toy, like 6 months early. And over that Black Friday weekend, I was able to put it online and we had like 300 orders. So I have 6 kids, by the way. So I called all kids to come downstairs. I was like teaching them how to make a box. I'm like, cool, this is how you're going to do it. And literally all of us were in the garage, like building these things out. So it's very family oriented. It's not like that much anymore. I have awesome employees here that work with us now. But everyone does something. I got my oldest, my stepson, he's working with us for the summer. We're teaching him how to do sketches. We're teaching him how to do base artwork. We're teaching him how to build boxes, how to ship out stuff, how to, you know, keep things organized and clean, how to open up a case so you don't ruin the toys inside, how to, you know, put bubble wrap on something. So I think there's a lot of stuff that we naturally intertwine with our family, and I'm really fortunate that I have such a large family. I got a little workforce with me.
But I'm going to say, I think it was right to hire employees, because having 8 kids sounds like a lot. 6 is good.
Yeah. It's been a blessing. One of them's here Monday through Thursday. Another one's here like 10 hours Monday and Tuesday. And I remember telling them, I was like, hey, all the work you're doing, I did that, plus everything else that you're seeing me do. And they were like, how'd you do it? And I told them, like, I really don't know. I have no idea. I think I was in the Marine Corps. So I think being like sleep deprived and working long hours was like a thing that I was used to.
Mhm.
So it was like a very transferable skill when I started RamFam Collectibles. But
You
yeah, it's really
mentioned
fun.
you have an event tomorrow. Is it Plasticon?
It's Plasticon. Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'm a very big prepper, so the cars are already packed, everything's done. I got into a really good but kind of a terrible habit. I set up my event in the garage, so like I set everything up based off the dimensions. I put everything up and then I box it all again and then I throw it right in the car. So it's like I know I have everything. I never go somewhere ill prepared. Um, so yeah, it's really interesting. When you met us when we were at oh gosh, Florida SuperCon,
Right.
everything had been set up. We actually changed every single day. So we had a different setup Friday, a different setup Saturday, and then a different setup Sunday. And the reason we did that, that was calculated, believe it or not. I know it sounds psychotic, but we did that because as merchandise dwindled away, we wanted to bring more things up front. So there's always like a rhyme and a rhythm and a reason behind the psychotic madness decisions that we have. But it worked out. We did really well there.
Do you have any funny stories, or it doesn't have to be funny, but different stories from all the events that you've been to? Any maybe weird requests that you can share?
Um, I'll tell you a couple interesting things. I will say I have a, if you don't, I would say from a consumer's perspective, have
Mhm.
a lot of patience and have a lot of leeway with these small businesses, especially at these small events, because they're figuring it out more often than not for the first time at that event, right?
Mhm.
They're figuring out how to set things up. They're probably worried about stuff. And I know sometimes consumers can be like, hey, can you knock off $10? Can you knock off $5 for this? It's like, hey man, like I want to make the sale, but at the same time, it's like I gotta make this because I have to pay the event, I gotta pay the bill, I gotta pay the whatever. So I just, I think one thing that I learned or that's interesting is like it's got to be both ways. Like I'm definitely gonna treat you with respect and we'll try and help you out as much as possible, but like don't put me in a situation where maybe I can't.
Mhm.
So that's something interesting. One thing that's a lot more cooler than that, Walter Jones, original Black Ranger.
Yes.
Um, I grew up watching Power Rangers. I got him somewhere he's laying down, unfortunately, on my shelf. I met him. I got to sit down with him for an hour live on Whatnot like 2, 3 weeks ago. Never in my wildest dreams, as like I was born in 1990, so like I absolutely grew up with Power Rangers. He
Mhm.
was one of my favorites. I never thought I'd be sitting down with a guy and like talking to him. That was only an opportunity that came about because of like the people I met, because I started this, because I did this. And then now I'm going to sit down with Rocky, Steve, the second Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. So it's really cool, like the opportunities that come from it.
Mhm.
Again, you never think that this like I jokingly say like this like overweight Latin veteran like from South Florida would like have an opportunity to like sit down with like what I perceive as like childhood heroes for me like that had like a really big impact for like an hour, even for an hour. Like a lot of people meet him at cons, but like I'm just sitting down one on one in a room with this guy and we're chit chatting before, we're chit chatting after. I got photos, I sent them to my friends, so it's really interesting. But quite honestly, when it comes to like cons, when it comes to events, I'm like the straight arrow. I'm like, hey, listen, man, I got one thing I got to do. I plan this out. I got to be here at 9 because I got to be done setting up by 10 because at 11 o'clock they're coming in. And from that point on, I'm like a politician. I'm shaking babies and kissing hands or whatever the heck that saying is. But
And you're
that's
super
really
friendly. That's
interesting.
one thing that I noticed right away when we met. Even though I'd already met your wife, but you came over and you were like the friendliest guy. And you were also trying to be at 20 places at once. You're like, hold on a second, I have to go do that. And then you're telling somebody else, hold on a second, I gotta go do that. And you're like, oh, he's
Yeah,
jumping.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
So
fun. I love that chaos. I thrive under pressure, I think.
mhm.
Funny enough, I said that exact sentence to someone at my job today. They're like, can you present on this? I'm like, I have no idea about it, but I'll learn and I'll figure it out and I'll present on it.
Mhm.
So I like it because it's fun. Again, it's all fun to me.
That sounds like great fun. I want to talk about your custom work because I think that is so cool that
Yeah,
you've been able to do that. So tell me a little bit about how that started, why, who does it, how what's the process like?
yeah. So the custom artwork that we do on our Funko Pops, I see a lot of artists do a lot of different things, and it actually started. I was at UltraCon a year or two ago. I don't know, and my father and I were in line to meet Sam De La Rosa. He's one of the artists that drew Venom. He's somewhere behind there over. And he drew on this Funko Pop, and it cost like $100. And it was really cool because it was signed. You know, I had a little sticker that said he did it and his drawing on there. My dad was like, "That's really cool. Why don't you do that?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" So you used to draw all the time when you were a child. Why don't you do it? And that was like kind of what stemmed this off. And I was like, "Yeah, why don't I do that?" So
Mhm.
I spent a long time going onto YouTube and finding videos, and there's absolutely nothing about how to draw on Funko Pops. It doesn't tell you what kind of ink to use. I went on Reddit. It doesn't tell you, you know, how to sketch, what to use. Nothing. It was like a natural gatekeeping secret. But I knew it was being done, so I just bought a bunch of Funko Pops, and then I was like, "Cool, let's go on Amazon and start buying things." So I started buying things, testing them out. I finally got a process down on how we do it. I might not necessarily go through the process here, but when we figured it out, it was just great. How do I can keep on improving on it? And what was really nice is really early on, we got a lot of support from some sellers, or specifically one seller, Cody, Toy USA, on Whatnot. So we signed an exclusive deal with him for a year. He's like kind of a big deal on Whatnot. So it helped get our name out there very often. And then people naturally came to me and was like, "Well, can you do this? Can you draw this? Can you do that?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, 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 yes." And we just naturally started figuring it out. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I don't want to just rely on Cody. I want to do it through our name on Whatnot as well. So
Mhm.
now just about 5 or 6 times a week we're live on Whatnot, showing off custom artwork. Eventually got to the point where we're so busy, I hired some other artists and I was like, "Hey, I want you to help me with the sketches." And then I said, "Hey, now let's give you your own sticker." So it wasn't just doing things for RamFam. We have another person here that works with us, Crystal's Customs. So if she has something, we have another artist that we work with, Casper, Art by Casper, that she does for someone else.
Okay.
So it's not about like RamFam, RamFam, RamFam. It's like, hey, you're gonna help me do like some basic initial stuff so I can finish it, but you're gonna be doing your own name, your own version, your own art. So from like an artistic standpoint, long term, this is your work. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's all gonna be done through like RamFam Collectibles. Like we'll sell it, but you're getting all the credit. Like it's how we want this to be. Um, so it worked out, and a lot of people, I would probably say 10 or so people will message me in a month and be like, "Anthony, how do you do this?" So I started having some streams where I was like, I don't know if I have one in front of me, but I'll show off the markers we use. It's like, "Hey, this is the exact marker that we use to do our sketches. This is how, we open up the Funko Pop, we lay them flat. This is how we do the sketch. We let that dry. We do base layers of colors. These are the exact, like I sent people the Amazon links from it because I told them, I was like, "Hey, I ran into a lot of trouble with this, and I had no support. I had to figure it out on my own. I
Mhm.
know how limiting that can feel and how discouraging it can feel. And I think from like an artist perspective, it's like, do you really want to stop? Like, imagine Picasso came to you and he's like, "Hey man, show me how to do this one thing." Like, if I didn't show him, we wouldn't have had any of that amazing work, right? So like, I want to try and open that door as much as possible for any other artist or any other business owner. Um, and
That's
that's how we met a lot of our connections. We started this little Instagram group. We call it Billionaires Row. There's like 7 or 8 of us in there, and we're all small guys. And we're like, "Hey, let's go to this event. I had success here. This is what works. These are the apps that I'm doing." We met Roberto, who was at the event with us there at Florida SuperCon. He does custom little minifigures. I mean, everything that has come up from RamFam Collectibles was all very organic and natural. And
Mhm.
I mean, this is just like 3 years in, so I'm excited to see like what 5 and 10 years
If
will
you've
show.
done all of that in 3 years, I can only imagine how much more is coming for the
Yeah, I'm
future.
excited.
It's great. I know you mentioned you had some things that you wanted to show us. If not here, we'll put some pictures up so people can really appreciate some of your work because
Yeah,
you do have some amazing stuff. So I want to make
I
sure that
do. You know what? I know I have two right here. If you give me 10 seconds, I'll grab it real
sure.
quick. I should have done this earlier. But here's a couple of good examples of some of the artwork. Here's two of them, two completely different spectrums of
Okay.
some of our artwork. So I'll go with this one because this one just sold. So if you're looking at this and you're like, "Wow, I really want to buy that," or "I want Anthony to do another one of these," I can't because I only had one of these. This is Donald Trump. and we did blood splatter on it, but that's not the cool part. It's him holding his fist in the air and the American flag in the background. So hopefully you can get a good photo of that and share it with people. But it was something that happened. Unfortunately, someone tried to do something really dumb. You should never hurt anyone at all. But it was like an iconic image of him holding his fist in the air, and regardless of what political party you're on, that's art. I get to throw it on there, and that was really cool. The other one, we did a Deadpool because we're going to an event, Plasticon. I talked to you about that. We did a Deadpool version of Pikachu, which who the heck doesn't like Pikachu and who the heck doesn't like Deadpool? So,
Of course.
from portraits to cartoons to crossovers. We have a lot of sports things coming up. We'll do pops that cost $5. We'll draw on pops that cost $100, $500. We've done Mike Tyson portraits on Funko Pops, John Berthnall, the Punisher, Vegeta, Goku. Gosh, there's probably so much more out there. And Conor McGregor, we got 2 of those that we're doing. So there's a lot of like opportunities to do this sort of things. And I think the best part is that our price points are pretty cool. So it still supports the team here. It gives them what they need. It still keeps the light ons figuratively and pays what we need to have paid. And someone can get something that's unique. Often it's usually one of one. Sometimes like the Pikachus, we might like make 2 or 3 of them because we know they're going to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of nice that people get to have something that's unique. That's to them. I've had both of my artists draw me something. I said, "You're never drawing this for anyone else to get. It's going on my shelf, and that's it. It's sealed. It's vaulted. No one's touching it."
And do you take requests
nice.
as well? So if somebody wants something specifically, would you do that for them?
Yeah. So funny enough, so this is an Indiana Jones that somebody sent us. I'll work on this on Monday. Yeah, it's $200 flat. It doesn't matter what you want. It could be a cartoon. It could be a giant piece. We have about a week turnaround time right now, so we'll dedicate time to sit down to do it. Those always get the priority. I had somebody at Florida SuperCon drop off a Funko Pop, a Resident Evil character. He said, "I want a zombie. Here's $200 cash." On Monday night, we were shipping it off to him. So we have a pretty quick turnaround time.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's important to people.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in America, right? We don't like to wait.
Nobody likes to wait.
Everything that we've talked about, you also run a podcast that is now on hold, but I want to, I don't know how you do all this.
I got
about the podcast. I want to know what is it that you talk about and what is it that you do?
So the podcast is called Comics, Collectibles, and Cafecitos. Cafecitos, for you Spanish, Cuban Americans, Latins, anyone from South America, a nice little Cuban coffee, cafecito, espresso, whatever you want to call it. We talk about exactly what the topics say. It's comics, collectibles, or coffee. We did put a pause. We had a place in Fort Lauderdale that we're using for a long time, and it took like 35 minutes to get there. You're from around here, so Fort Lauderdale is brutal to go through.
Yes.
Instead, we worked with a local business, and we were able to build a podcast room, like an actual room with mounted in everything, cameras, audio, sound equipment. So you can just go in there, you click a button, and you're ready to go. So we've been off for about a year. You are not the first person that's asked me about it. We are trying to go back into it. But once it's up and running, I'll have set days every week that we'll meet, probably Monday. So every Monday we'll have the recording. Hopefully by Tuesday it'll be released. And then it's just going to be like churn and burn.
Perfect.
So, I'm very excited.
Can we find it on Spotify, YouTube? Where can we find your podcast?
Yeah, so at least right now it's on YouTube, but Chris is going to have it on anywhere that you can go find. So it's not only going to be audio, but it's going to be visual, and that's what I really like. If you haven't noticed, I like to talk to my hands a lot. I have a great smile, but more importantly, it's fun to kind of like watch people's reactions and like see what they're doing. So like, if we can pull up, we did a Spawn series once. Like it was an old TV show on HBO. So like to be able to like share a screen and see like the same thing we're talking about, I think is pretty important. Or if like kind of like what we just did, like if I want to show off something, I want you to be able to see it. I don't just want you to be able to hear it. So it's like a fun little place.
There's something really special about being able to look at people and so for sure I love it. Well, I mean, you are a busy man. But it looks
I got my nieces here too, so we actually have 8 kids in the house. which is why I want to do headphones. So, I mean, family is a really big deal for us.
Listen, as long as you're having fun doing it, it's. And I'm going to see you tomorrow at Plasticon because I'll be there.
We'll see.
I'll be in there.
Yes.
And hopefully your wife as well, and your kids, some of them.
No, they're all staying here. It's just going to be me at Plasticon. That event is half for the business, half because I got to go hang out with people that are not my kids. So I love them, but it's fun to get away and talk about nerd stuff. I try to talk to my kids about, whatever's going on in the toy community or movies, and like half of them are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I'll go talk.
And that's why I left the best for last. I want to ask you about your favorite things. I always ask all my guests. So tell us. I'm very curious about your stuff. What is your favorite movie? Tell me, please.
Okay, so I have to lean on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. It's dark, it's gritty, it's just got a small dash of humor to it. And probably like everyone else in the world, when you saw Raphael on the roof of that New York City building getting his butt kicked, you were like, I got to get in there and I got to fight. So I credit that movie to the last 20 years of martial arts for me, because I got into it. I did tournaments. I got my black belt in American Kempo. I was in a very small windows. I did a little MMA fights, jiu-jitsu, sparring. It was really fun. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is definitely going to be my first pick. And they're tattooed all up and down my arms. So yeah, they win for sure.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. Good choice. I used to love the Ninja Turtles when I was, growing up. All right, so I don't know if you know this, you might not know this, but I am in a band, so it's called At the Starlight, and that's why the next question I always ask is, what's your favorite song? And yes, you do get extra points if you pick a song from us, but you don't have to.
Okay, well, that is new news to me, so I didn't know that, so you definitely have to share with me some of your songs. I'll give you two answers. I'll give you my most recently obsessed song is Shabuzi, a bar song. I play that thing religiously. If you don't know, it's just a bar song, parentheses, tipsy. You can just ask your little electronic friend to play it for you whenever you want. And then my all-time favorite song is 21 Pilots' Level of Concern. The reason why I really like that song is because that was one of the first songs that played when my wife and I first met. We met during COVID, and it was playing on the radio, and I knew the song. She knew the lyrics. We kind of melded over it. And one of our first anniversary gifts was a guitar on this giant board, and the guitar is made of the lyrics. And it's like happy first anniversary, and the lyrics is the guitar. So it's pretty cool. So that one's got to be my favorite for sure.
Wow, you're like a big teddy bear. I love it.
Funny you say that. Wait, on that topic, this little teddy bear actually, on my dating profile, I was powerlifting at the time, and it was a picture of me squatting 615 at this meet. And I like racked it, and like I jump out, and I'm like going like this. And the quote that I used was, think of me as a really strong teddy bear. So the fact that you say teddy bear and then she bought me this, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because I can see that you're like such a nice guy, like you have an eye for details that a lot of guys don't. And I'm not, of course, stereotyping what I am, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but but I see that you're a sweetheart. I can tell. All right. So last question, because this podcast is sponsored by Meeple Village, which is a board game channel. I will ask you, what's your favorite board game, if any? Because you might not know.
I do have one.
Okay.
And it's really funny that the reasoning I love this game is almost the complete opposite of how you just described it. I love Monopoly. I love the fact that I can tear someone down little by little. They're counting their dollars. They're going through a mortgage. They're sweating. They're sitting there rolling dice. They're hitting on my rentals. I'm buying. I always buy properties one at a time, just hotel by hotel by hotel. So it's like a slow roll, like misery tormenting thing. So I'm a little bit psychotic when it comes to my Monopoly, because we used to play it with my mom, my dad, my older sister. And it was really big because down here in South Florida in like the 2000s, there was hurricanes all the time. We had Irene and oh my gosh, there's probably 15 more I can't even remember. But we lost power often, so we would like take that out, and like it was just every man for himself. So when I play with the kids now, I'm ruthless. I'm like, dude, you're not my son, you're not my daughter, you're not my wife. Like, this is business. I'm going to tear you down slowly, and you're going to know that you lost to me. So
Wow.
everything you just said was really great, but if you put me in front of Monopoly, I'm going to tear you down.
I was gonna say I take the whole teddy bear away. The whole teddy
Yeah,
bear thing I mentioned, I'm taking it away.
ruthless, ruthless. Be like, you going to the bathroom right now? Oh, so you're scared? You just go? No, I'm ruthless. I'm ruthless.
That's
I'm um I'm not allowed to play very often. Let me put it that way. My wife has put a limit to it.
okay. I mean, I gotta tell you this, right? Because again, I'm a board gamer and I'm here to teach others, right? Just like you just taught me a bunch of stuff about collectibles. In our world, in board game like fandom, Euro game, very heavy board gamers, we do not consider Monopoly a board game. There's actually shirts that say
Really?
Monopoly not a board game. Yes, it's just we feel that it's based on just rolling dice and luck. So
Sure.
the games we play are more strategic, right? And we have to think, we have to plan. And so I do encourage you to check out the channel and see if there might be a
Now I
board
have
that
to.
interests you. But
Do I have the ability to tear someone down
oh yeah,
slowly and surely?
oh yes, oh
And
very much.
send me over what you got, of course. I'll teach some kids.
But I mean, don't take me wrong. I enjoy Monopoly, and I don't play it anymore, obviously because I got plenty of other things to play.
Sure.
But I'm not against it, and that's a fine choice. I'm just, letting you know that yes,
Technically.
we kind of look down on Monopoly a bit because there's yeah, I mean, that's okay. It's okay. It's like I said, this is your choice, and you might not. I know there's a lot of people out there that are geeks and love this stuff, but they don't know that there's a DC game, there's a Star Wars board game, there's
Right.
Avengers, there's X-Men, there's a lot of there's the last of like there's so many the Witcher board game, and you might not have ever been exposed to that stuff. So of course we remember, like just like me, I used to play board games when I was a kid, and then never
Sure.
played them again until
Shoots and ladders. Like
yeah,
that's, yeah.
see, that's the one the Latinos play, Parcheesi.
Yeah, no, yeah. But that's another good example. But isn't that great about like this fandom geek nerd lifestyle is that like it's not just like a toy. It's like so much more than that. It can be a movie, it can be a comic, it can be a TV show, like a huge story arc where like their children up until the point they're married and then they have children and like this it's like it's a universe, it's this world, it's a board game, it's the clothes, like it's not like a marketing thing. It's like a lifestyle. It's something that can like
Yes,
really consume you.
yes.
And that's why I say like, yo, if you're having fun, like whatever part of that
Wherever
universe that you're in, like if you're having fun, dude, you're
yeah.
killing it.
But there is a lot to explore, and that is the reason for this podcast, is to explore every area. If you look at the episodes we've had before, we've had stuff like cereal boxes, we've had jewelry, we have so many different things. So I am very happy that you came and you show us your stuff because it is amazing. Like I guess again, I was blown away by the website, and hopefully we'll have some pictures that we can show
Yeah.
so that you guys can also. And now we know where to find you. We'll have all the links and everything so that we can check you out. And like I said, I'm going to see you tomorrow. So thank you so much
Yes.
for coming on. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you and to all your viewers. It's great. Hopefully we all find a good way to mesh together, short term, long term. And if anyone needs us, like I said, ramfamcollectibles.com. Just Google us. You'll see my cell phone numbers up there. You can text me. I think that might have been exactly what I told you. I might have written it down, but I said, hey, you just Google. If you lose this, just Google the name. You'll see my cell phone number. You'll see my email. We're very open and upfront.
Very
So
important.
this is fun. I love it. It's
Yeah.
nice being on this side of things.
Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and may you play
Thank
board
you,
games.
everybody.
But now I'm good.